Welcome to episode 1. Welcome to the Wealthy Warriors. I believe that we're all warriors. I believe that each one of us has a warrior within us. And I believe that wealth helps provide that warriorship on being a warrior. And today I want to talk about one of the 4 attributes that I have. Being Indigenous, being First Nations, being Native American, we incorporate circles. We believe everything is a circle. And one of the biggest things that Indigenous people incorporate is the medicine wheel, because the medicine wheel shows us the balance, the seasons of life. And today I want to talk about one of them that I've really been honing in on within this last year, and that's mental wealth and being more mindful, and how, what we think ultimately will happen. It will ultimately happen. It'll come to be, even if it's a bad thing. So, as they say, be careful what you wish for, right? Because it'll happen. It'll come true. And one thing that I've been doing for just over 600 days, and what I use an app called Headspace, is meditate. I sit down, I actually lay down after stretching for 15 minutes, and I meditate. And I meditate to the Headspace app. And even within this past year, I've noticed how meditation has really helped me with being more mindful, on being more aware of the thoughts that are in my mind, and understanding that my thoughts will ultimately come to be. And it's been pretty powerful that meditation is something that's free, that most people, I believe everyone would benefit from doing, but majority of people don't meditate because they think when they sit down they have to stop the mind. They believe they have to stop their thoughts. They believe that they're broken if they don't stop thinking. But ultimately that's the exact opposite. Because when you meditate, you are supposed to catch your thoughts and understand that your thought is just a thought at the end of the day. And sometimes thoughts can be like clouds, When you see a cloud, it'll come, and it'll come over your head, and then eventually it'll stop there for a second, and then it'll pass on by. On a windier day. Some days, when it's not so windy, the clouds don't move as fast. But just imagine, it's a nice breezy day, a light little breeze, and a cloud rolls up, and then it passes. That's the same thing, the way we should be with our thoughts. And most people don't realize that. And when they see a thought, when they think of a thought, they sit there and they hold it, and they just keep dwelling on it. And then that thought turns into more thoughts, which creates more thoughts. Instead of just letting it go and understanding, hey, you know what? I'm not my thought. I am not my thoughts. And that's one thing that meditation has taught me. And it's pretty neat when I lay there and all of a sudden I catch myself thinking. I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm thinking. And that's where the real practice begins, is when you notice that you're thinking and you stop and say, okay, well, I'm thinking. And then I go back to focusing on my breath. Just in, out, in, out. And eventually, a couple seconds later, I'll start thinking again. And then I catch myself, and then I go back to my thoughts, or my breath, sorry. But that's all you're doing in meditation. is just realizing that you're thinking, and then you ground yourself again. You bring yourself back down to your breath. The breath is one of the most things that we take for granted because it's something we automatically do. But when you start to become more mindful on your breath and you start to breathe into your belly more, you become less stressed. Just think back when the last time you were angry, or you felt you had anxiety come up, or something that kind of lines. Just think about where you were breathing. I guarantee you that you were breathing in your chest. You were contracting in your chest. And when we breathe into our chest, what it's ultimately doing is activating our flight system. Our body thinks that we're in danger, so it's trying to protect itself. And when we breathe into our bellies, it allows us to let that go. It allows us to say, oh hey, I'm not in danger. I'm okay. I am okay. So just try it right now with me. Try to put your hand on your belly. Put your hand on your belly and focus on, when you breathe, pushing out your hand with your belly. How do you feel? If you follow me along, it's pretty crazy. Even myself right now, I feel even more relaxed and I feel calm. It's pretty interesting. So I want to give you one good tip on how to do this more, on how to become more mindful. If you have a watch or your phone, set an alarm for every hour. It doesn't have to be every hour on the hour. Just once every hour, set an alarm and label it as breathe or mindful or, be in the moment, whatever you want to label it as. And every hour, I want you to start breathing into your belly just for 5 seconds or 5 times. Breathe in. And do that for 5 times. And start to notice how your day will be a little bit less stressful. It will be more peaceful even. And I suggest at first, if you don't know how to breathe into your belly, by putting your hand on your belly and physically try to push your belly out with your hand. And if you do this, you're going to start to become more mindful. You're going to feel more relaxed. It's pretty crazy how just simply by knowing how to breathe properly, breathing into your belly, what it can do for you. It's, that's been one of the biggest game changers in my mental health, especially this last year with what's going on and continuing to go on. And it's really helped me hone in on listening to my gut instinct. I recently started to listen to my gut instinct more. You know what? We all been there when we do something, but our gut tells us to do the opposite. And we end up going with our brain. And it's always wrong. You're like, damn, I should have done that. I should have listened to my gut. I should have listened to my gut. You do it time and time again. And, your gut is telling you the right thing to do because, everything is energy. And I was told this story that our energy comes through our stomach, through our belly, because that's ultimately where our mothers gave us life. That's where we were fed from our moms. So that's why it's called a gut instinct, is that we were born getting energy through our stomach, through our belly button, ultimately. So next time you have a gut instinct and you start to practice this more mindfulness with the breathing, you will go with that. And the more and more you start to listen to your gut instinct, the stronger it gets. It's pretty crazy, because we ultimately know the right choice, the right thing to do in situations, but we are stuck on that thought. We're stuck on that cloud instead of allow that cloud to pass by our thoughts and listening to our gut intuition. Our gut intuition always knows right, because that's where energy comes into. So I challenge you for the next 2 weeks to start to breathe more mindfully into your belly and take a minute out of every hour to breathe into your belly, to practice mindfulness, to allow your body to, let go of some stress. And I guarantee you that your mental health will start to become better just by mindfully breathing into your belly. And I am really, really honored that you've stuck with me so far in my podcast and this journey with my life. I'm really excited for what's gonna happen, because me too. I've started to listen to my gut instinct, and there was this tiny little thing, this little subtle thing that just kept telling me to start a podcast, and my mind would tell me different. My mind would tell me that, no one's gonna listen to you, this and that. It was trying to put me down, basically. It wanted to take the easiest route. But here we are, my very first episode of The Wealthy Warriors, on, creating you to be the warrior you were always meant to be. And our first episode is about mindfulness. So I challenge you to set an alarm every hour just to breathe into your belly. And I want to see how your life starts to transform just by this one simple thing doing each day. And with that, I'm going to say on Winnegit in my Tunacha language. That means, it's over. Thank you. On Winnegit Dagas. So thank you. Sukani. Thank you for tuning in with my Wealthy Warriors. And remember, everything happens for the right reason. I'll see you next week. Sukani.